Do you think you give your door keys to everybody? Do you think you give your car keys to everybody? Then why give the network keys to anybody, right? And that's the point. So you are responsible. That's the first primary point.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Today it is an honor and a pleasure for me to introduce you all to this very particular session where we are going to know more about the future of IoT and home automation. My name is Harsh and I'm going to moderate this session for all of you wherein I'm going to introduce you all about session and perhaps the person who is going to interact and address all of us. First of all, I request you all to kindly acknowledge and welcome the presence of our esteemed guest. And he's very dynamic, very interesting, and very renowned personality, none other than Mr. Nimis Danani, who is here with us. I would like to request all the persons, those who are watching this session on YouTube, to kindly applaud in the comment section and welcome the presence of our guest. Mr. Nimis Danani currently holds the position of director at Hitachi Vantara, part of Digital Solutions. He has a strong track of records of delivering value to enhance operational efficiency using technology and consulting. He has successfully led client engagement, business development roles and practice for large technology and consulting companies. So, first of all, sir, I welcome you to in this session. Thank you so much for joining and agreeing to share your thoughts with us.
Thank you, Harsh. Pleasure to be here.
Thank you so much, sir. It's absolute pleasure for all of us. So, moving to the topic of today's session, which we have chosen is IoT and home automation. What does the future hold? So, my first question to you is: before 2020, the word home was not much highlighted, but since the pandemic has begun, people have realized that they need to invest more in their homes for making it more luxurious and comfortable. We have heard about
Right.
smart cities, and of course, many of us switched our homes for to smart homes. So my question to you is, what does the future hold for IoT-based home automation system?
Uh, Harsh, I think this is a great point, and I'd like to start with a viewpoint. What happened before 2020? Most of us were going to work, coming back from work. We had a time out of home, inside home. Family was used to seeing parents, mother, father, or grandparents, or uncles, aunties going for work and coming back, and children used to go to school and come back, right? On the whole, maybe you spent maybe 10, 12, or 14 hours at home. Now we spend 24 hours at home. So home is your place to be. It's your place for fun, place for enjoyment, place for dinners, place for parties, place for food, school, work. So home, everything is centered around the home. Everything comes to your house rather than you going. So that's a big shift that has happened. Secondly, now because of this, if you look at it, right, there is a trend of homes being bought for self-consumption. So people said, okay, I would rather, if I don't need to live in the heart of the city, because like you see today, many companies are saying work from home as part of their offer letter. So what you're saying is I can work from anywhere, which means I don't need to be in a tier one city near a commercial, or have the hassle of train travel or a bus travel or a car traffic travel every day. Then I have a choice. Now if I have a choice, I want to do better my quality of life, which means I need a little more space. I need to put my own nameplate. I need to do up my house so that it is personalized for me. Earlier, I was probably living on a rental, nearer to office in a working city, be it a tech city or an IT or a BPO or a consulting or my banking. All of them have become remote working. Now home has become important. So what do I need? I need to set up my house so that I can work also comfortably, not just live there for the night or the day and come back, right? So now the trend is, can I do something to enjoy my house? If I'm living on rent, I can't even do any of these things. I may have an aspiration, but hey, I'm on rent. I can only get movable furniture and move out. I can't even knock a nail many a time, right? So the home is becoming the center of the universe now, and family even more close. So that's the change that we are seeing.
Indeed, sir. As you have told, and I think many of us are working from home. Now the work from home became a new normal. So absolutely, the importance of home has become much more than the previous. Sir, moving to my next question, as many home automation system consist of devices from several different manufacturers, there may be several weak spots. Very few private homes have a knowledgeable system administrator that will be aware of important maintenance and security upgrades. Non-tech savvy homeowners will never monitor their network activity, which allows the attacker to time to work. If and when the network is compromised, the attackers know he are unlikely to be detected. Besides, you cannot expect the babysitter or the kid's friend to be careful about network security. Susan, my question to you is
Hmm.
who is responsible for securing IoT networks?
So to start with the answer, I think you as a consumer of IoT devices and internet at home are the person responsible. Uh, I'll try and simplify the problem and then go to the detail of it. Now, everybody, or rather I would say 98, 99% of work from home, everyone has a Wi-Fi coming from a broadband provider or from a local cable operator or a kind of a Wi-Fi device hotspot, whatever it may be, right? We've all acquired means of using connectivity. Now tell me, how many of you have given that password to others in your family, in your friends, in your visitors, in your network engineers who come to set up? If I do a show of hands right now, most of you will raise your hands, which goes on to say that your network password is already compromised. Please understand, it starts with that your entry point to your house, which has Wi-Fi and IoT devices and your own devices connected, uh, is your Wi-Fi, local Wi-Fi or your hotspot Wi-Fi. The beginning is when you have allowed this password to flow out. So step number one, ensure that you don't let this password out. It has to be in a very limited number of heads. And the most easiest way of letting it go is allowing children to know the password. God bless you. You will suddenly have maybe 10, 20 kids in your apartment knowing your passwords, and you're all over the road, right? What happens next, right? You call, say, the telecom guy for help support. You raise a complaint. He comes to fix your router and your password. What do? Do you tell him your password, or you enter it and ask him to look on the other side? These two are very different use cases, and right now it might sound like the most simplest of the thing, but trust me, people don't follow this. These are basics, right? And you're basically, what you're saying is, hey, my doors are open, come and pick whatever data you want to have. Now, do you think you give your door keys to everybody? Do you think you give your car keys to everybody? Then why give the network keys to anybody, right? And that's the point. So you are responsible. That's the first primary piece. Second aspect, when you pick up a Wi-Fi device or a router or an IoT device in your home, or you're doing a smart home automation, or you're doing voice activated, right? You need to check what product and what security policies that company is going to offer. Are they stable enough? Are they offering the kind of updates and security that are required, right? So one is securing the gates of the house. Second is the products inside the house have to be secure enough, or there has to be support enough to reach out if there is a problem. So I think 80-20 rule: 80% the mess is around the first bit, and 20% lies after that. So that would be my take on who's responsible, right?
Indeed, sir, it is very hard to disagree with you. And I think the viewers, those who are watching this session, they are surely going to find this insightful. And not only I think, but I do strongly believe this. Sir, my next question to you is the concept of smart home is modeled after convenience through connectivity and automation of process for efficiency. When homeowners decide to adopt the concept of smart home, they must also be aware of the threats confronting the smart home, as cyber criminals are crawling the internet and are also devising hacks aimed at the smart home. As you have very rightly mentioned, in response, there would be smart home owner must respond with the security measures in place. Security for smart home can start with the awareness and taking the necessary step to secure the integrity of the home networks. Sir, my actually question to you is, what are the things smart owners should check and ensure about cyber security in home automation? I think one point you have already told us in your previous answer. Sir, more to that, what can be the things?
Okay, so I will take on from where I left, but I'll give you a flavor to this, right? Any new innovation always has two aspects. One is the utility of it, other is the negative side effect. So there is always an effect and a side effect. So spot on. I think cybersecurity hackers crawling for data, trying to hack into internet, or trying to do criminal acts through it, right? So one major aspect is obviously the product, what you use, and the security patches upgrade. Check with the company, ask and find out of the service reliability. Do some research today online. You're able to get a lot of updates from the online research that you can conduct. Uh, Another point, and I will skip the Wi-Fi password point because I think that's covered quite a bit. The third aspect is, when you install these IoT-enabled smart home devices at home, now whether it is a smart curtain or a smart heater or a smart air con, or a smart speaker, and you access many of these devices using your smartphone, right? Which is still okay, because your smartphone may be your own personal with a personal identity and a security, and assuming you're not using a hacked phone, because there are all these gray market hacked devices and there's a genuine one. What I would suggest, if you can really control, is now you need to access your home automation or your home videos or content. Do not use a shared machine or a public machine. Now, this might sound obscure that, hey, what happened? I have to put a login name and a password. Then why do you say so? But please understand, the public machine that you're using is subject to public viewing and usage. You don't know the guy before you or after you planted what inside it, what's the malware inside it, what is the hack that will allow him to access the device information again. To add to this, I think having a good amount of a good well-known product on the security installed on your devices that you use, right? Especially some machines come with built-in security, whether it is basic security or internet security or bundles for more secure data transaction, right? Based on the severity and the criticality of the data involved, ensure you are covered there, right? More importantly, if children and elders are using machines and computers at home, they are probably not as much tech savvy to understand what is the malicious link, what is the real link. Keeping security up, ensuring that those antiviruses and anti-malware things away definitely help you. It makes you safer. Now, if you're doing a smart home at your home, I think putting an antivirus or an anti-malware security doesn't cost that much extra. You should not think about those things. Yeah. So public entry-exit points, security practice from the company, your own Wi-Fi security, and ensuring your devices are secure. Those things, I think, are the foundations of this piece.
Indeed, sir, as you have very rightly mentioned that everything comes with the things you don't like, you don't want. Sir, moving to my next question, this digital space and contemporary technologies growth in the world and smart home automation are establishing their importance in today's marketplace. Sir, my question is, what are the top biggest challenges for home automation, especially in developing countries like us?
Okay. I don't know whether I write the word developing, because India has been always called a developing country, although we have developed quite a bit. But having moved on from that, see, so for example, you and I, we buy a house, for example, right? When I do up my house, I do up my interior, I'm actually doing a checkbox on every item I'm spending for. Right? Today, when we are talking of the home segment has expanded, it is not the luxury buyer segment. We are talking about the middle class buyer who decided to move from rent to his own place. So he's going to put his hard-earned money, which he's getting every month or whatever, through a small business. So when he does up the thing, right, he's seeing everything as an expense. So first thing is the perception of home automation being expensive and only for the elite class. and even more expensive to maintain. Tough to break, but I think there has to be some innovation around it. A second piece is right. It is high maintenance. Now I put up something and then the motor says, "Oh God, I'm going to spend 1,500 or 2,000 for a service engineer to come in and fix it." Right? What if I call out for something? Okay, switch on the curtain, switch off the curtain, and that damn thing doesn't work. I'm stuck. I'm okay to getting up from my bed and say pulling a curtain rod or physically, using the handmade old traditional style of a rope. So that perception has to break, right? Third, and the most importantly, right? When I'm buying a house, and if I have all this bundled inside it, my incremental or delta cost is not seen also. Whereas when I'm doing it up myself, it goes. I have to cough out that much amount, for it. So, which takes me to the trend. If you see, many builders have started now giving it smart home touch on. So, whether they give you basic, fans using a remote, or lights using a remote, or geysers using an app, or an air conditioner giving an, using an app or a voice activated, those things definitely help the adoption. So, I think that's where some more innovation is required in terms of the adoption curve. That's what I think.
Indeed, sir. As you have talked about the innovation, sir, my next question to you is how do you visualize the scope of entrepreneurship in this home automation industry?
So I would tag it in the sunrise sector really. So I've been personally seeing home automation coming in from maybe 2007 or 2009 onwards. I've been personally involved with developers who were discussing smart home automation. I've been involved with companies who wanted to set up shop in India as early as 2008-9. Today, I think the adoption is definitely cross, as they say, the first 16% adoption. Specifically, I would say the office-related adoption of automation, whether it is lights going on and off, so we call it sensor-based lighting, call it room bookings, you got it automated, gate ins and outs and everything. Uh, I think home automation, for want of many words, there is a market because everybody wants to make his house more luxurious. I have an aspiration for it. Now, if I have an aspiration for it, I need some way to use it. I need some way to adopt it. So, I think entrepreneurship in this space is really untapped. If you ask me, really, right? There are limited companies, but even those limited companies are struggling for reach and adoption. I don't think a company who can make products also can go and service and repair and maintain and expand and write applications on it. It needs to be an ecosystem of stuff. And now there is another layer onto it. We are hearing about 5G coming in fast enough. Now, what is 5G going to do? 5G is going to increase the amount of bandwidth and the connectivity. So the width and the speed both are going to increase multifold. Now, if we have to manage home automation centrally using a network of internet, that step up is going to happen now. So there is definitely a lot of scope here in entrepreneurship, and one has to be very smart to come out with the right business models, just to be unique enough to adopt this concept. So that would be my take. Yeah, and I would encourage that somewhere.
Indeed, sir. Again, it was a quite insightful answer from your side, and I think those entrepreneurs, those who are watching this session, they are surely going to smell this opportunity. Sir, I can say there is a lot more to learn from you, but today I don't want to take you much time. So, moving to my last question of this session. Actually, this
Yeah.
question I have got from my friends, those who are in engineering college, are still pursuing their graduation. The question is, what does the future hold for careers in home automation industry?
Okay. Now let's look at what is the required skill set for home automation. Let me break it down for you, right? Home automation is using new generation technologies like IoT, artificial intelligence, and obviously the PLE 5.0 or the 5G, the net telecom side of it. So if the demand is coming, which we say adoption is coming up, and I'm saying entrepreneurship is obviously going to come in, yeah, you have to have the talent. Now, talent luckily is not confined to home automation. This talent will actually learn the technology and the connectivity of the Zigbee, the LoRa, the Sigfox technology, working really in integrate to be able to enable this home automation. So whether you have got into the nuts and bolts of programming or wiring up or designing or network design or skill design or chip design, or you're taken off with security, or you've gone into the application development, or you've gone into product designing, careers want to span across. Adoption of this to home automation is something that I think will come back again, and more you're going to see people offering this as a part of the start to it. So, for example, if you're booking a house or an office, maybe, right, you will want certain things to be done first time, right? So, okay, I'm going to negotiate a deal with you, and maybe my deal would be that you will put this basic home automation with this part of my deal. So there are two things that I'm doing. One, as a customer, I'm getting this as part of my capex, which in most case homes are bought on loans. So remember that delta perception. Even if I'm spending 2 or 3% of my cost of my house as home automation, it is still gone and consumed somewhere else. It's not going to hit my so-called balance sheet in the first shot like this. Secondly, as a developer, you're also offering that delta amount of the uniqueness that you're saying, that I'm going to go that extra and I'm going to make it smart home ready. Obviously, as a developer, you need to look at the security, safety, the brand, the convenience, and everything. But imagine a world where a few years down the line, even 30 to 40% of the properties get offered with this kind of a stuff. Now, can you read the entrepreneurship curve and hence the careers curve, right? You can't do it without talent. And I think luckily in our country, we are not short of talent. Our talent gets mostly exported. So that's the other side of it. So definitely there are a fair amount of career opportunities on this. And you can look at the new technology, digital technology, the kind of hiring that is happening even today. I think in the last year, all the new tech, people who are skilled on it, the hiring has only gone up. People with this kind of skill set have not lost job. I think they have gained in careers. They've got that rise and the hike to ensure that the new tech becomes more relevant. So I don't see a challenge. I see a good positive momentum for career. And to your point, like you said, there are a lot of graduation team members who would like to listen to this. I would tell them all the best and embrace it well. Learn it well so you can adopt it better. So that would be my my point here to you, Harsh. Yeah.
Indeed, sir, as you have mentioned that luckily we are the means one of the talented countries of the world, and also we are the second largest tech-savvy country of the world after one of our neighbor. And it's really a great matter of pride that we have a lot more things to do and lot more things to means recognize. We can work on this. And also many one of the biggest tech giants, or we can say biggest organization, are leading by the Indians. It's really a great matter of pride for all of us. Thank you so much, sir, for joining and giving your important time. It was a very healthy discussion with you on the topic. Thank you so much, sir, for joining.
Sure, welcome, Harsh. I hope it was insightful and happy to take any feedback from it.
Thank you, sir. Thank
On the ground is where I stand. Never give up, that was always the plan. It's so cold